And as promised, here I am. I am about to start my last meal before I start my fast. And so I thought I'd come on and share with you guys what it is. This is a salad that I got from down in the cafeteria. Um, as you know, I do a 72-hour fast once a week, and I start on Tuesday afternoon, and I go Tuesday to Wednesday. That's one day. Wednesday to Thursday, that's 2 days, and then Thursday to Friday, 3 days. So basically, 72-hour fast. The last couple of weeks, I've done a little longer um, because I usually start my fast right after our lunch or after our meeting on Tuesdays. So that's been a little longer. So by the time I do my check-in on Wednesdays, it's usually about 33 hours. By the time I do my check-in on Thursday, it's 56, 57 hours. And then, of course, on Friday. But roughly 72 hours is what it's been. And the reason for the fast is it is part of the health action plan that we've talked about. If you've been following us, Limitless Living, this is the working arm, if you will, for what we do. This is the piece that actually puts the stuff that we talk about into action. And there are several components. We launched that several weeks ago and now are kind of walking through the process. But we've been fasting for a while, right? So as a matter of fact, if you've been watching us on the channel, you've seen me fast for several years now, talking about intermittent fasting. But this year, over the last 12, 18, maybe 16, 18 months or so, we've been fasting as a community, fasting together, and doing extended fast. And in this case, 72-hour fast is what I do. I propose that the community begin by working their way up to be able to fast for a 24-hour period once a week. That's right, 24-hour period once a week. And so let's go ahead and I've got, like I said, a salad that I got from the cafeteria. I've taken some things off of it. Let's see what we got here. Let me move this down. And so here is what my salad looks like. We've got some cucumbers, got some cherry tomatoes, some banana peppers, lettuce, romaine lettuce. There's some carrots under there. There's some sunflower seeds, and there's cheese down there, and there are eggs. And so that's kind of my protein. Also in the office today, we had, it was kind of a burrito bowl. And on the burrito bowl, they had some steak. So I've taken the steak off, and the plan is to add the steak on top of the salad here, and that's what we're going to use to break our fast, or to start our fast. So that's going to be my last meal. And then, come check out with us again tomorrow, where we'll do our check-in. And that'll be probably about 33 hours, because we typically do that in the evening, about 9 o'clock on Dwain Woode MD Live, right here on the channel. So we'll start that there, and then, of course, on Wednesday, so it's Wednesday, and then, of course, Thursday, we'll do a check-in as well, and then on Friday, we'll do another check-in and go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to dig in, and, all right, let's say a grace. All right, and then here we go. What I like about this, and maybe, let's see. I was trying to figure out how to, because of course I just have the one camera. I'll let you see me eating as we're talking, so I might have to zoom out a little bit. So let's see this. And I'm in the conference room at my office. Let's see, maybe. Okay, let me make a little change here. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, so keep that straight. And then, let's see if we can do this. Okay. All right. So, you know what? I can actually hold this up. How about that? I'm going to tear off this top part, which is the cover, I think. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. So I'll hold this up a little bit, and so you get to see this as I'm eating it. Of course, I just dropped stuff on myself. So I've kind of invited everyone to come join me as we start the fast. I'm going to bring this back up this way. Come join me as we start the fast. Because there's nothing like having a community around you for a fast. They get to support you. Remember, the way you begin a fast, I shouldn't say the begin a fast, the way that you eat prior to a fast has a profound influence on how successfully the fast goes. So in this, I've got protein, which comes from the eggs, comes from the cheese, of course, comes from the steak. And I didn't look to see what my blood sugar was. I'll have to record that. So we can see what it is. So the protein and the protein in the salad will help to keep me satiated, so I don't have cravings. I was a little concerned initially when I put this together, because the salad itself, there's some eggs, some cheese. Of course, there's the sunflower seeds that were in there. But when I added the steak, I was like, okay, I think I have enough protein. And of course, the fat that also helps comes from the cheese, comes from the seeds, the eggs, and the ranch salad dressing. The ranch salad dressing that's in here. Now here's the thing, even as I'm eating this, I actually don't feel that hungry. Because I had this morning, I had some cheesy eggs, had some turkey sausage, and that was just now, what, 8? Not even 8. 5, maybe 6 hours ago. So here's a question for you. If you're not hungry at the time that you're ready to start a fast, should you eat one last meal because you're about to start a fast? What do you think? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. That's actually a good topic for one of our episodes, right? Particularly now that a lot of people are starting to fast and they're starting to eat better. And we've talked about the components of a healthy meal, right? Balanced bites, which we'll come back and we'll talk about on the show. But balanced bites, if people are eating that well and they are including a lot of protein, are including a lot of healthy fats, and they're eating a balanced meal, they may not actually be hungry when it's time to start a fast. And it just seems odd to make someone eat just because they're about to start the fast. Another group of people that may be impacted by this are those people who are on GLP-1 receptor agonists, right? So there's things like Mounjaro, Wegovy, Zepbound, Ozempic, because those things, those medications suppress the appetite. So it is certainly possible to fast even though you're on those medications. And if you're on those medications, once again, here's my salad. So if you're on those medications, you may find that at the time of when you're ready for a fast, you may not be hungry. So yeah, what do you do? If you've had that happen to you, either you are eating a balanced meal or you're on a GLP-1 receptor agonist and you're planning to fast, how have you handled that before? What did you do? And so I try not to come to the beginning of a fast very hungry, which is why I actually had breakfast this morning. I'm not typically a breakfast person. But I deliberately increased, or I had breakfast, and I was mindful of making sure that I had a lot of protein. As I got into the fast. And then here as well, right? So you can see the cheese is in there. There's some eggs, and I've already eaten up all the steak that was here. You'll see the seeds that are there that gives me both fat and some protein. And of course gives me some seeds, some nuts will give you omega-3. And honestly, I'm actually pretty full right now. You see? Pretty full. And I didn't even eat the whole thing. Oh, I see. Hey, Cornelia, how are you? I see you out there. Cornelia, one of our community members, who's been doing an amazing job, by the way. Proud of you. So what do you think? What do you think? If you are about to start a fast and you're not hungry, do you eat just because you're about to start the fast? Do you delay the fast until you are hungry? You dive right into it? And other things that are in there, the thing that would probably spike my blood sugar the most are these cherry tomatoes. Right? So those I had, I mean, I think there were maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think I ate 2. There were 7 or so in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 7, 8, maybe 8. Okay, I'm trying to get all the protein in. The protein and the fat, the cheese and the eggs. All right. I think I'm going to stop there because otherwise my stomach is just going to feel full. All right, so that's the salad. And so once again, we had some cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, romaine lettuce, some carrots, got cheese in there. There's some eggs, ranch dressing, some sunflower seeds. Oh, what else? I had some steak that came off of a meal. This was sliced, chopped steak that here in the office it's almost like um, a Chipotle type restaurant that they brought lunch in from. And so I took the steak off of that, added it to this, which increased the amount of protein that I was getting, and then ate the rest. And so I was mentioning, if you're just joining us, that I had breakfast this morning. I don't usually have breakfast because I usually do my one meal a day later in the day. But because I was going to start fasting today, I actually had breakfast this morning, and it was some eggs with cheese on it. There were some turkey sausage. And so I'm actually still relatively full from that. And so even though I'm eating my last meal here, I am not actually able to complete the whole thing. And so the question I was asking is, if you get to a fast, like where you're about to start a fast, and you're supposed to be eating your last meal, if you're not hungry, what do you do? How do you handle that? Okay. Do you just go say, okay, I'm just going to go directly into the fast, which means that your last meal was whatever you ate last night, or I'm going to eat anyway, and because I want to eat before I get into the fast, or how, I mean, what have you done? And this particularly comes into play with people who are on GLP-1 receptor agonists, people who are doing a good job of dealing with their the domains of health, right? Because remember the things that are pushing us, people who are doing a good job of managing those triggers, the HEAT model, habits, emotions, access, and taste. So if you're getting benefit from those, if you're improving, if you're growing, then the possibility is that you are now able to better manage those emotional things that come. Let me get this chair out of the picture, right? Those emotional things that come. And so you're not pushed to eat like you have been pushed before. So now you get to a fast, you're about to start a fast, and you're really not hungry. So how do you handle that? Okay. So that is the fast, and it is now 1:26. Right, 1:26. And so we will come and we will do a check-in tomorrow. Not at 1:26, but we'll do a check-in on our show, which will be 9 p.m. Central on Dwain Woode MD Live. I'll see how we're doing, see what the blood sugars are doing, see what my graphs are, see what my ketones are, and then just kind of talk through this component of the health action plan. Because remember, fasting is a huge, huge component of that. And when we could pair it with the other components, like walking, which is what we did last week, put those two together, and that's amazing, right? So there you have it, salad with a bunch of stuff in there, with protein as steak, cheese, and eggs and nuts. And then, of course, the fats. We get the cheese, the fat. There's some. I guess there was some fat in that protein in the steak that I had. Of course, the eggs and the cheese have fat in it, and the seeds as well. Um, there it is. All right. So drop in the comments. Drop in the comments if you're fasting with us. If you decided that you're fasting and you're starting your fast right now, or even if you started your fast earlier, what have you used or what did you use for the fast? What was your last meal for the fast that you ate? And and then come on back. Come on back tomorrow as we do our check-in and share with us that you are fasting with us, when you started. As you heard me say before, I recommend that everyone should be able, unless that there are certain parameters, and I've given those before, everyone else should be able to fast for at least 24 hours once a week. Always checking with your healthcare provider to make sure that you're staying safe. But everyone else should be able to fast for at least 24 hours a day. And so our goal, as we are entering the fasting phase, is to work our way up to a 24-hour period. Okay? After you get the 24-hour period, then we talk about, okay, what else can we do? As you see, I do a 72-hour fast, 72-hour fast once a week. You don't have to do 72 hours. Let me say that again. You don't have to do 72 hours because you get benefit, as we mentioned on our show last night, that you get benefit even with the shorter fast, the intermittent fasting, the time-restricted fasting. All of those still give benefit. So, but our goal is to say, hey, let's get to a 24-hour fast. So Cornelia says, for my last meal, I had 2 boiled eggs, and that went away. Okay. So yeah, Cornelia, I love it. Janet said that she's just coming out. Is it a 41-hour fast, Janet? Yay! Congratulations. So you still get benefit from those fasts as well. That's awesome, Janet. Yes, very, very much so. And if you are able to do that, so Janet said yes, it's a 41-hour. I'm proud of you. Good job for the 41-hour fast. For those of you who have not fasted before, one of the very first, I guess, hurdles is really not the physical fasting, right? One of the first hurdles is actually up here. Because in our minds, we think that we can't fast. We think, oh my goodness, I'm going to starve to death. Oh my goodness, how am I going to go without eating that thing? Or oh my goodness, how am I going to get through? Oh my goodness, right? So all those things come to mind, and those are really things that we kind of have to deal with in our minds, which is why prior to initiating or introducing the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, we went through and we talked about the domains of health, because those domains are where the stuff from our brain comes from, right? So our emotional, physical, social, psychological, relational aspects of our lives, those are the places where it will influence what we think about fasting. And so if we are able to deal with those, understand those, when we now come to the Health Action Plan and we talk about walking or talk about fasting, then we have a different perspective on fasting. And so our brain is more able to accept that. I mentioned in one of the episodes of Strength, Strategy, and Mindset that I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying to him that I don't understand why it is that it took me so long for the concepts to sink in and become an integral part of me. And he said to me simply, he said, you weren't ready yet. He said there were some things that you had to go through, some things you had to learn, some things that had to happen for the concepts now to be able to be built on those ideas that you had. So I had to have a mindset change. I had to have a shift. I had to see the world through a different set of lenses before those concepts began to make sense and become solidified. And so as you're watching, as you're thinking, as you're moving through this space, I don't want you to say to yourself, oh man, Um, well, we do one of two things, right? Either we say it's too hard and we're not going to do it, so we leave it alone, or we say, well, something's wrong with me. And I want you to think, I want to propose to you that neither of those are the case. It's not that it's too hard and there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You are adequate. You are sufficient just the way you are. One of the reasons that we don't succeed has nothing to do with our motivation, has nothing to do with how tough we are, has nothing to do with even our vision of what we want. It has to do with the fact that we don't have structure. And so limitless living gives us the structure that we need. And the health action plan is the working functional arm of the health part of our limitless living. It is what allows us to do and reverse our metabolism, improve our metabolic disease, and get our health back in the best way. So Janet says she did a 72-hour fast 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and now is not on any blood pressure medicine. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. See that? That is amazing, right? The ability of fasting to attack, right? To attack those components of the metabolic disease and to help us get improvement. So when we talk about, and you hear me talk about diabetes a lot, blood sugars and so forth, but if you don't have diabetes, if you don't have high blood sugar, these concepts still work for you because they are improving the underlying dysfunction of the metabolism. And when we do that, then we get what Janet just says, right? Off of medication, off of cholesterol medication, off of other types of medication, because that is what is the underlying problem. So if we fix the problem, let me see. Janet, you got me talking now. So here's the thing. For so long, we continue to fix the symptom of the problem. We continue to patch it, right? And we throw medications at it. We throw other things at it, but we're not attacking the underlying problem. And fasting attacks the underlying problem of the disease, of the metabolic process. Because I can easily get someone's blood sugar down. If I give them enough insulin, if I give them enough medication, the blood sugar comes down. But it does not fix the underlying issue. But here now, if we fix the underlying issue, if we improve the dysfunctional metabolism, then all of a sudden, I don't need medication. And that's what you just, an example of that, what Janet just says. Oh, so very, very good, Janet. I'm excited about that. You guys will know that we have several people in our community right now who, we have some people who are on insulin pumps, who are no longer on insulin pumps. Some people who are on insulin who are no longer on insulin. People who have lost hundreds of pounds, right, collectively, not like one person lost hundreds of pounds, but we had, we saw someone in the office just today, and we were talking that is down, who lost 100 pounds. And you, if you go to our website, you can read a little bit about her comments. Excuse me. Who was down 100 pounds and had great benefit. I mean, just so amazing. I'm getting a little choked up here. Excuse me. But this is the process, y'all. And so just wanted to come on, let you see what my last meal was. And once again, these are the remains of the salad that I just ate. Was not that hungry to eat the whole thing. And so the question that I pose to you is, if you are coming to a fast and you get to the fast, or you're getting to your last meal, as I did, and you are not hungry, how do you handle that going into the fast? Do you just plow through and say, okay, I'm going to eat anyway because it's going to be my last meal? Or do you say, hey, I'm going to not eat this and let the last meal that I ate last night be the last meal. So essentially, I start my fast last night. Or do you do a combination of things? Or what would you do? Go ahead and drop that in the comments and let us know. If you are in our community, go ahead and drop that in the Kajabi, drop that on the bulletin board, and so we will all kind of respond to that together. All right. Well, anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you are fasting. And this is a great time, right, to begin your fast as we do it together. So we'll come back. We'll do our check-in tomorrow night. We'll probably do a pop-up check-in, and this is a little longer than I intended it to be. I intended to just waft it down, but glad that you all were here to join me, and thank you for coming through. And enjoy your fast. Enjoy the rest of the day. Remember, what I want you to do is as you move, as you go from here, I want you to live a limitless life, which says that you're not allowing anything to distract you, nothing to hinder you. You're presenting your best self, your best health, and your best plans for your life. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.